Violet had always considered herself a devoted daughter. She was 35 years old, a self-made woman who had built a successful marketing consulting business from scratch. Hard work and determination had brought her to a place of financial stability, and for the past 5 years, she had been sharing that stability with her parents. They had always struggled financially, and when her business took off, she made a conscious decision to help them enjoy their retirement without constant worry about expenses. It wasn't an obligation, it was love. Every month, without fail, she transferred $3,000 to their joint bank account. Sometimes, it was even more, depending on the emergencies they claimed to have. A broken furnace in the middle of winter? She sent an extra $5,000. Her father's urgent dental surgery? Another few thousand. Her parents assured her that they were barely getting by, and she was happy to help. After all, they had raised her, given her a home, and done their best for her. Helping them now was simply the right thing to do. But everything she believed about her family shattered in an instant. It happened because of a single text message, a careless mistake made by her brother, Harry. It had been an ordinary evening, and Violet had just finished a client meeting when her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, expecting it to be another routine update from their family group chat. Instead, what she saw made her stomach drop. The family ATM just sent another $3,000. Her fingers froze over the screen. What was this? Before she could process the message, more notifications flooded in. Harry, LMAO. Keep that gravy train running. She's too stupid to realize we're using her. Dad, your mom just bought those golf clubs I wanted. Jordan would flip if she knew where the money was really going. A sickening feeling rose in Violet's chest as she stared at the words. Her hands trembled as she scrolled further up the chat history. More screenshots followed, years of conversations she had never seen before. Messages where they plotted how to get more money out of her, where they laughed about how easily she could be manipulated. Mom just told Violet that the roof is leaking. Let's see how much we can squeeze out of her this time. Dad, she's such a sucker for helping family. I almost feel bad. Almost. Harry, maybe we should start a betting pool on how quickly she sends the money. Violet felt like the air had been knocked out of her lungs. She had worked 60-hour weeks to support both her life and theirs. She had sacrificed vacations, postponed buying her own home, and bought second-hand furniture to ensure they had everything they needed. All this time, she had been worried about their well-being, sending them thousands upon thousands of dollars, only to find out that they had been spending it on luxuries and laughing at her behind her back. The betrayal was beyond anything she could have imagined. Her parents, the people she had trusted and loved unconditionally, had seen her not as their daughter, but as a resource to be drained. An ATM. Panic mixed with rage as she scrolled through more messages. They had claimed financial hardship, yet they had gone on vacations. They had complained about medical bills, yet her father had bought top-of-the-line golf clubs. The heating bill she had helped with? A lie. The car repairs? Fake. The dental surgery? Never happened. Her phone buzzed again, this time, a frantic message from Harry. Harry, Violet, don't read those messages. It was a mistake. They were just joking around. Please ignore it. But she couldn't ignore it. Everything she had known, everything she had believed about her family, had just come crashing down. She wasn't helping them survive, she was funding their luxuries. And worse, they saw her kindness as stupidity. As she sat there in her home office, staring at the April rain hitting the windows of her townhouse, Violet realized something chilling. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a pattern. A scheme. A deliberate deception that had been going on for years. And she had been blind to it. Her phone began ringing, her mother's name flashing on the screen. But Violet couldn't bring herself to answer. Not yet. She needed time to process what she had just learned. Because in that moment, one thing was clear: her family had never truly loved her. They had only loved what she could provide. Violet sat frozen, her phone still clutched in her trembling hands. The words on the screen blurred as a mix of anger, betrayal, and disbelief overwhelmed her. It felt surreal, like she was trapped in some cruel alternate reality where the people she had loved and trusted most saw her as nothing more than a tool, a bank account with no emotions, a fool too naive to see how thoroughly she had been manipulated. The rain outside intensified, mirroring the storm raging inside her. The weight of the deception settled heavily on her chest, making it hard to breathe. She had sacrificed so much for them. She had worked long hours, skipped personal luxuries, and prioritized their needs above her own. And for what? So they could mock her? So they could take vacations while she sat in her tiny home office, stressed about making sure they had enough? A sharp knock at the door pulled her from her spiraling thoughts. She stood up instinctively but hesitated before moving toward the door. Through the peephole, she saw Harry standing on the porch, drenched from the rain, his face twisted in worry. Her jaw tightened. She wasn't ready for this conversation. But maybe it was time to hear what he had to say. Taking a deep breath, Violet unlocked the door but didn't move aside to let him in. "What do you want?" she asked, her voice cold and steady despite the turmoil inside her. Harry looked miserable, water dripping from his hair as he shoved his hands into his jacket pockets. "Violet, please, can I come in? I can explain everything." She let out a bitter laugh. "Explain what?" "How you've all been laughing at me for years." She held up her phone, the damning messages still displayed on the screen. "Just told Violet Dad needs dental surgery. Let's see how much we can get this time." "That one's from you, Harry." "So tell me, what exactly is there to explain?" Harry flinched. "It's not what it looks like." His voice cracked, desperation lacing his words. "Mom and Dad, they started it. I just went along with it." Violet's expression hardened. "So you were just following orders? Like some kind of financial puppet?" The bitterness in her voice surprised even her, but she didn't care. "Do you even know how much I've given them, Harry?" $3,000 a month. That's $36,000 a year. For 5 years. She let the weight of the number settle in the air before she continued. "That's $180,000, and that doesn't even count the extra money for Dad's supposed medical expenses or Mom's emergency furnace repairs last winter. Do you know what I did to send them that money? I skipped vacations. I put off buying a house. I worked 60-hour weeks while they were buying golf clubs and taking trips." Harry looked down, ashamed. "I know it's a lot," he admitted quietly. "It's not just a lot," she snapped. "It's my entire life. And they've been lying to me the whole time." He swallowed hard. "They took it too far." "I know. But they're freaking out, Violet. Dad's worried about his heart medication." She laughed bitterly. "Oh, you mean the medication that doesn't exist? Or the real one that I've been paying for while they spend my money on luxury items?" Harry's face crumpled. "I messed up. I know that. But they really do need your help now. They can't afford their mortgage without you. Violet felt a strange sense of calm wash over her. Their mortgage, she echoed. You mean on the lakeside condo they bought last year while telling me they were struggling to pay rent on their modest apartment? Harry hesitated. They just what? She cut him off. Thought they could keep lying to me forever? Keep manipulating me? Keep treating me like some kind of unlimited cash supply? She shook her head. No. Not anymore. Please, Harry whispered. They're our parents. They're 65, not 95, she shot back. They're perfectly capable of figuring this out without me. Harry's shoulders slumped. So that's it? You're cutting them off? I have no other choice, she said firmly. I've given them everything, and it was never enough. If they had just asked for help and been honest with me, I would have kept helping. But they lied. They manipulated me. And I won't let them do it anymore. Harry exhaled shakily, looking utterly defeated. They don't know what to do without you. That sounds like a them problem, Violet said simply. Not mine. She stepped back and closed the door. As she leaned against it, her entire body trembled, not from fear, but from something else entirely, liberation. The rain continued to pour outside, but inside, for the first time in years, Violet felt the fog beginning to clear. She wasn't just hurt. She was done. Violet sat at her desk, staring at her laptop screen, her hands hovering over the keyboard. She had spent the entire night replaying the betrayal in her mind, her anger solidifying into resolve. The screenshots, the messages, the years of manipulation, it was all there in black and white. She had been more than generous, and they had taken advantage of her without a shred of guilt. That ended today. She clicked into her bank's online portal, her heart pounding as she navigated to the recurring transfers section. There it was, $3,000 sent automatically to her parents' joint account every month for the past 5 years. Without hesitation, she clicked cancel. A confirmation message popped up. Are you sure you want to cancel this transfer? Yes. More than anything. With one final click, it was done. The financial lifeline her family had relied on for years was cut off. Step 1. Complete. Next, she pulled up the investment account she had quietly set up for them 3 years ago, a secret plan to surprise them with a supplemental retirement fund when they turned 70. She had been contributing $1,000 a month. The current balance showed just over $42,000, money she had saved for their future while they were out living lavishly off her hard-earned income. Her finger hovered over the close account button. For a brief moment, doubt crept in. Would this be too harsh? Would she regret this later? But then she remembered the messages. She's such a sucker for helping family. I almost feel bad. Almost. No. She wouldn't regret this. With a deep breath, she confirmed the account closure. Within 3 business days, the money would be transferred back to her primary account. Money that, for the first time in years, would belong solely to her. Step 2. Complete. Next was health insurance. She had added her parents as dependents on her premium plan 2 years ago, ensuring that her father's supposed heart medication was covered. But now, she questioned if any of it was even real. A quick call to her insurance provider revealed an obstacle. Mid-year changes to dependent status required a qualifying life event. Fortunately, after explaining her situation to a sympathetic representative named Miguel, he found a way around it. Since they have their own residence and you no longer provide more than 50% of their financial support, we can process this as a change in dependent status, Miguel explained. They'll receive a notification that they've been removed from your policy, effective at the end of the month, which gives them 30 days to find alternative coverage. That's perfect, Violet said, relieved. Thank you for understanding. Family situations can be complicated, Miguel replied kindly. Been there myself. Step 3. Complete. The final step was the easiest, removing them as beneficiaries on her life insurance policy. A simple online form allowed her to replace their names with a local children's charity. The irony wasn't lost on her. Her parents had treated her like a financial safety net, but now, the money would go to people who truly needed it. By noon, every financial tie to her parents had been severed. Violet exhaled, feeling lighter than she had in years. She had spent so long trying to support them, bending over backward to make sure they were comfortable, only to realize that her kindness had been met with nothing but greed. Her phone buzzed. A text from Harry. Mom and Dad are freaking out. Dad says his prescription refill was denied at the pharmacy. What did you do? Violet stared at the message. Not a single word of apology. Not even an acknowledgement of the betrayal. Just more pressure. More manipulation. Her reply was simple. Their consequences are not my problem anymore. Within seconds, her phone rang. It was Harry. She let it go to voicemail. Then, opening her email, she drafted a formal letter to her parents. Underscore 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 underscore. Subject: Financial support provided, 2018 to 2023. Robert and Patricia. Attached is a comprehensive accounting of the financial support I have provided over the past 5 years, totaling $221,800. As of today, the recurring transfers to your joint account have been terminated. The supplemental retirement account I set up has been closed. You have been removed from my health insurance policy, effective May 31st. You are no longer listed as beneficiaries on my life insurance. Your duplicity has been documented with screenshots of your own messages, revealing how you have systematically manipulated and deceived me while mocking my generosity. Do not contact me again unless it is to repay what you have taken under false pretenses. Violet. Underscore 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 underscore. She read it twice before hitting send. Step 4. Complete. With that, she blocked their numbers, removed them from her social media, and finally, sat back in her chair, exhausted but relieved. For the first time in years, her money was truly her own. 3 days of blissful silence passed before Violet's phone rang again. This time, it wasn't a call, a text, or an email, it was the doorbell. She cautiously approached the peephole, already having an idea of who it would be. Sure enough, standing on her porch, drenched in the dim glow of the evening streetlight, were her parents and Harry. Their faces were a mix of anger and desperation. Violet's stomach twisted, but she took a deep breath and steadied herself. She was not going to be manipulated this time. The doorbell rang again, followed by a loud pounding. Violet, her father's voice boomed. We know you're in there. You can't just cut us off without talking to us. She pulled out her phone and quickly texted Harry. I have nothing to say. Please leave or I will call the police. Through the peephole, she watched as Harry pulled out his phone, checked the message, and showed it to their parents. A heated discussion followed. Her mother wiped at her face. Whether it was actual tears or just part of her performance, Violet couldn't tell. Her father, meanwhile, turned an alarming shade of red, his fists clenched at his sides. Eventually, they left. But the messages started the next morning. First, her mother sent a long, emotional email detailing how devastated they were. Your father's health is suffering from all this stress. His blood pressure is through the roof. Is that what you want? To make your own father sick? Her father, in contrast, took a different approach. This childish behavior needs to stop immediately. We are your parents. We raised you. You owe us. Harry's texts were less aggressive, but just as manipulative. They can't afford their mortgage payment without you, Violet. You know that. Just help them one last time, please. Violet forwarded each message to her lawyer, Megan, without replying. She had already made her decision. There was no going back. 3 days later, a certified letter arrived at her doorstep. Inside was a handwritten note from her mother. Underscore 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 underscore. Violet. We don't understand why you are punishing us like this. Yes, we made some jokes in poor taste, but that's what families do. Your father's heart medication is $450 a month without insurance. Our mortgage is due next week, and we can't cover it without your help. We might lose our home. Is that what you want? For your elderly parents to be homeless? Please stop this cruelty and talk to us. Mom. Underscore 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 underscore. Violet nearly laughed at the word elderly. They were both 65 and in good health. Her father's heart medication? She wasn't even sure it existed. Just to confirm, she made a call to the pharmacy where her father had always filled his prescriptions. Pretending to be her mother, she asked for the cost of his heart medication without insurance. The pharmacist checked and replied, "It's $42 for a 30-day supply, Mrs. Wright. Not $450. Another lie. That evening, as she was leaving work, she found Harry waiting outside her office building. He looked worse than before, dark circles under his eyes, his clothes wrinkled. Violet, he pleaded, stepping in front of her. They're falling apart. Dad's talking about bankruptcy. She didn't even slow her pace. That's not my problem, Harry. How can you be so cold? He demanded, his voice cracking. There are parents. She stopped and turned to face him. Are they? Because real parents don't exploit their children. Real parents don't laugh at their kids behind their backs about how stupid and gullible they are. Harry swallowed hard. They made mistakes, but... A mistake is forgetting a birthday, she cut him off. What they did was calculated and cruel, for years. He exhaled shakily. The condo is going into foreclosure, Violet. They can't make the payments without you. For a brief second, guilt flickered in her chest. But then she remembered the screenshot. Just convinced Violet we're struggling with rent. Meanwhile, we're closing on the lake condo next week. Cheers. She squared her shoulders. They shouldn't have bought a house they couldn't afford. What about Dad's medication? Harry pressed. It's $450 a month. She shook her head. No, Harry. It's $42. I checked. His eyes widened. How did you? I did my research. No more lies. Harry rubbed his temples, exhausted. Violet, they're talking about moving in with me. I can't handle that. She gave him a small, humorless smile. That sounds like a you problem, Harry. Welcome to consequences. With that, she walked away, leaving her brother standing there, finally understanding the weight of what he had helped create. Underscore 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 underscore. 2 weeks later, in a therapy session, Violet recounted everything to Dr. Bennett, her therapist. Every day, I swing between feeling strong and feeling horrible, she admitted. Yesterday, I found out they had to cancel their country club membership. And for hours, I actually felt guilty about it. That's normal, Dr. Bennett said gently. You're grieving the family you thought you had. But they didn't deserve my support, Violet whispered. They were using me. Dr. Bennett nodded. Both things can be true. They didn't deserve your support, and you can still feel loss about no longer providing it. Violet pondered that for a moment. The role of family provider became part of your identity, Dr. Bennett continued. Now, you're redefining who you are without that role. Violet exhaled slowly, the truth of those words settling deep within her. For 5 years, her worth had been tied to being the successful daughter who could support her parents. Now, for the first time, she had to ask herself, who was she without them? 2 weeks had passed since Violet had cut off her family, yet their manipulation attempts continued. The guilt still tried to creep in, whispering that she was abandoning them, that she was being heartless. But every time she felt herself wavering, she reminded herself of the messages, of the way they had laughed at her kindness, exploited her generosity, and spent her hard-earned money on luxuries while pretending to struggle. She had done nothing wrong. Yet, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had lost something, not just her family, but a core part of who she was. For years, her identity had been tied to being the responsible daughter, the provider, the one who made sure everyone else was okay. If she wasn't that anymore, then who was she? These thoughts weighed on her as she went into her next therapy session with Dr. Bennett. The woman, always calm and steady, listened as Violet poured out her emotions. Every day, I swing between feeling strong and feeling horrible, Violet admitted. Like yesterday, I found out from a mutual friend that my parents had to cancel their country club membership. And for hours, I actually felt guilty about it. Dr. Bennett nodded thoughtfully. That's normal, she said. You're grieving the family you thought you had. Violet exhaled shakily. But they didn't deserve my support. They were using me. Both things can be true at once, Dr. Bennett said gently. They didn't deserve your support, and you can still feel loss about no longer providing it. That struck something deep inside Violet. She had never considered it that way. She had been trying to force herself to feel only anger or only resolve, but grief was messier than that. The role of family provider became part of your identity, Dr. Bennett continued. Now, you're redefining who you are without that role. That thought lingered with Violet long after her session ended. Underscore 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 underscore. Later that evening, as she was going through her emails, her phone rang. The number was unfamiliar, but something in her gut told her it was connected to her family. Against her better judgment, she answered. Violet, it's your Uncle Pete. She frowned in surprise. They had never been particularly close, but she respected him. He had always been the distant relative who kept to himself, living his life far away from family drama. Hey, Uncle Pete, she greeted cautiously. Everything okay? He sighed. I just got a strange call from your father. He asked if he and your mother could come live with us for a while. Violet nearly laughed. Seriously? Yeah, Pete confirmed. He said you'd cut them off financially and they were about to lose their home. So, I figured I should hear your side of the story before making any decisions. Something in his tone told her he already knew the truth, but she explained anyway. The years of lies, the manipulation, the deception, they all came tumbling out. By the time she finished, there was a long silence. I'm not surprised, Pete finally said. Your father tried to pull similar stunts with me years ago. It's why we're not close. I refuse to fund his lifestyle. Violet's stomach twisted. You knew? I did, he admitted. But would you have believed me if I had warned you? Violet opened her mouth to argue, but stopped herself. The truth was, she wouldn't have believed him. Her parents had convinced her that they were struggling, that she was their only hope, that helping them was the right thing to do. Sometimes, Pete continued, people have to discover the truth for themselves. He was right. For what it's worth, he added, I told your father I wouldn't take them in. I suggested they downsize and live within their means. He hung up on me. Violet exhaled slowly, a strange sense of validation washing over her. She wasn't crazy for cutting them off. She wasn't a horrible daughter. She was just the latest target of their manipulation, and she had finally wised up. Underscore 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 underscore. That evening, she received yet another text from Harry. Mom and Dad are moving into my spare room next week. They're selling the condo. Dad's furious about it. I can't believe this is happening. Violet stared at the message for a long moment before locking her phone without responding. 3 days later, another message came in. The condo is on the market. Dad's car got repossessed yesterday. This is getting really bad. For a split second, the old Violet almost texted back, almost asked if they needed help moving, if they had enough to get by. But then she remembered a particular screenshot. Violet just asked if Dad was doing okay after his doctor's appointment. For the heart issue that doesn't exist. LMAO. No. They had made their choices. Now, they were living with the consequences. Underscore 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 underscore. Week 3 brought an email from a family friend. Subject: Message from your parents. Violet hesitated before opening it. They just want a chance to talk to you, the email read. To explain. To apologize. She considered it for all of 5 seconds before hitting delete. Their idea of an apology would be whatever they thought might turn the money faucet back on. She was done being manipulated. She was done being their ATM. For the first time in years, her money was going toward her future, not their pretend emergencies. And for the first time in her entire life, the guilt was fading, replaced by something unexpected. Freedom. 6 months after cutting off all financial support, Violet returned home from a business trip to find her parents sitting on her porch steps. Her father looked thinner, and her mother's perfectly maintained highlights had grown out, revealing streaks of gray. Their clothes were noticeably less expensive than what they used to wear. For a brief moment, an old instinct stirred in Violet, the part of her that always rushed to fix things, to provide, to make sure they were okay. But she had learned her lesson. Taking a deep breath, she parked the car and approached them slowly, her heart pounding but her resolve firm. Her mother was the first to speak, her voice cracking. "Violet, please. We just want to talk." "We've learned our lesson," her father added. "These past months have been hell." She unlocked her door and glanced at them. "You have 5 minutes." Inside, they perched awkwardly on the couch while she remained standing, arms crossed. "We're sorry," her mother began. "We never should have taken advantage of your generosity." Her father nodded. "We've lost everything, the condo, the car, our savings. We had to move in with Harry, and his place is so small your mother has to sleep on a pull-out couch." Violet remained silent, waiting. "The country club revoked our membership," her mother continued, her voice trembling. "Our friends don't call anymore. My medication costs have been terrible without your insurance," her father added. "Medicare doesn't cover everything." Violet listened as they listed everything they had lost, every hardship they had faced. But there was no true apology. No acknowledgement of how much they had hurt her. Just a list of reasons why she should feel bad for them. "Is that it?" she finally asked. Her mother's voice wavered. "We want to make things right. We've really suffered, Violet. We've learned our lesson." "What lesson would that be?" Violet challenged. They exchanged glances. Finally, her father muttered, "That we shouldn't have taken you for granted." Translation: They should have been more careful about getting caught. Violet exhaled. "No, you haven't learned anything." "We came all this way to apologize," her mother protested. "No, you came all this way to tell me how much you've suffered without my money," Violet corrected. "Not once have you acknowledged how your betrayal made me feel." "We said we're sorry," her father insisted. "For getting caught," she said. "Not for what you did." Taking a deep breath, Violet moved toward the door and opened it. "I wish you well. I really do. I hope you find a way to live comfortably within your means. But I can't be part of your lives anymore." "You can't mean that," her mother whispered, tears forming. We need you. No, Violet said, shaking her head. You need what I can provide. There's a difference. Her father's face darkened. So that's it? After everything we've done for you? Violet let out a humorless laugh. What exactly have you done for me, Dad? Besides take and take and take? He had no answer. As they stepped outside, her mother turned back one last time. You'll regret this, Violet. Family is all you have in the end. Violet met her gaze steadily. No, Mom. Family is supposed to be the people who love you unconditionally. I built that family, with my friends. What you offered was just a transaction. She closed the door. And as their footsteps retreated down the path, she didn't feel guilt. She didn't feel sadness. She felt peace. The ATM was permanently closed. And for the first time in her adult life, she was truly free.